class, welcome.
What's up?
Today we discuss Ernest Hemingway, well-known American novelist, short story writer, and journalist known for his distinctive writing style, adventurous life, and deep influence on 20th century literature.
Did somebody say deep?
Oh, hi. Yes, I was talking about your deep influence.
Oh, would you like me to discuss? I know a thing or two about deep. The depths of the Gulf Stream, which I explored in my boat, Pilar.
No, that's okay.
Or height? I can talk about the height of Mount Kilimanjaro. Have you read my short story, The Snows of Kilimanjaro?
Yes, but
I can talk about it.
that's okay. We're just trying to discuss you, your life, writing, influence.
Ooh, interesting.
Feel free to stick around, I guess.
Sure, I'll just listen, quietly.
So, as I was saying, Hemingway's deep influence on 20th century literature stems from several of his works and the themes he explored within them. Themes such as masculinity.
Like the sun also rises.
Indeed. And themes of war.
For whom the bell tolls.
Themes of love.
The sun also rises again.
And The Garden of Eden, published posthumously but notable nonetheless. It was a long story that I was working on about love, androgyny, sexual role reversal.
Sounds interesting.
You should read it.
No, you should not read that.
Oh, man.
Maybe when you're older. Moving along. Let's see, any other prominent ones?
Themes of loss.
Like in the sun also rises.
Indeed, good call out. I was going to say A Farewell to Arms.
That works. All great themes, and great stories too, might I add. I'll be quiet now.
Hemingway was born...
Oh, another theme. The human struggle against fate. Perfectly captured in The Old Man and the Sea.
Yes, great. Another good one.
I know, thank you.
Moving along now.
You're welcome.
Hemingway was born in Oak Park, Illinois in 1899.
Dang.
You know,
Yes,
you
Ernest?
could just skip over the Illinois years, if you don't mind.
Fine, I can do that.
Thank you. I'll be quiet now.
I will note, however, in his youth, Hemingway developed a deep love for nature, fishing, and hunting, interests that would appear throughout his later writings.
I don't like hunting.
Well, when you become a man, you hunt.
Hemingway began his career as soon as he left high school at the age of 17, working as a reporter for the Kansas City Star.
I wasn't long there, but the Kansas City Star style guide deeply influenced my
I
writing
can see
style.
that. An emphasis on brevity and clarity.
Not at all like William Faulkner and his complex, grotesque Baroque prose.
Excuse me, do you have a problem with my prose? As though it might be too highbrow for your level of comprehension to endure.
Only a small man has to use big words.
Why, you're about to hear the sound and feel the fury of my rage, Mr. Hemingway.
Gentlemen, please, we are in the middle of something. Mr. Faulkner, can you please wait outside?
I'll translate for him. You's better done gone get out of here for you get touched in the head.
Fine. I'll go get me some coffee and wait outside. Hey, you's got any chicory root I can use for my coffee? Fine, I will wait outside.
Continuing on. Impactful as it was, Hemingway only worked at the Kansas City Star for 6 months before leaving to serve as a Red Cross ambulance driver in World War I.
Ambulance driver? Why didn't he fight?
He failed the entrance exam on account of his poor vision.
Too blind to fight, but he couldn't drive an ambulance?
Weird, right?
Indeed, maybe that explains why he crashed his ambulance within a matter of weeks.
Excuse me, I did not crash my ambulance. I was hit by a mortar.
Okay, that is correct. He was serving in Italy in a non-combat role as an ambulance driver, but was seriously wounded by mortar fire.
This experience, while not particularly enjoyable, provided material for my later works.
This marked the end of his involvement in the war. After recuperating, he returned back home.
I've had many homes throughout my life.
Over the next few years, Hemingway would continue his journalism work, begin writing short fiction, meet and marry his first wife, Hadley.
First wife? How many wives did he have?
Only one at a time. You see, kids, a man may love many women in his life and might marry some.
Okay, moving along. Hadley and Hemingway moved to Paris at the end of 1921. Hemingway would live in Paris for over 6 years, the first half of which was spent mostly full-time as a journalist, but the later half was devoted almost entirely to his fiction writing.
If you are lucky enough to have lived in Paris as a young man,
Hey,
you
Ernie,
are...
hey, can I get some advice on how to manage?
I'm busy, Scott.
F. Scott Fitzgerald, welcome.
Oh, hello. I just need a minute with Ernie, if you don't mind.
We do mind.
We are kind of in the middle of something. Do you mind waiting?
Sure.
Outside.
All right.
Hemingway's breakthrough novel
The Sun Also Rises.
came in 1926, just as his marriage to Hadley was winding down.
That's a kind way of putting it.
I failed to mention, Hadley and Hemingway had one child during their marriage, Jack.
Jack was his legal name, but obviously we called him Bumby for short.
Following his divorce from Hadley, Hemingway quickly married his second wife, Pauline Pfeiffer. He had 2 more kids with Pauline, Patrick and Gregory, later known as Gloria. Both children were raised with Hemingway and Pauline primarily in Key West.
We lived in Key West for many years. I worked early in the mornings, and then in the afternoons I fished or drank. Sometimes both. Often both.
This was a very productive era for Hemingway while in Key West, during which time he published 2 more novels, A Farewell to Arms, set during World War I, and To Have and Have Not, set in Key West.
In addition to collections of short stories and 2 works of nonfiction,
What does nonfiction mean again?
It means not true.
everything I write is true. I write true, whether it's real or not.
In the late 30s, Hemingway traveled to Spain to cover the Spanish Civil War. Following the war, Hemingway retreated to Cuba, where he began to write his next novel, For Whom the Bell Tolls.
A book I am tremendously proud of. A story written with honesty, as true as I can write.
Hemingway was joined in Cuba by his soon-to-be third wife, Martha Gellhorn.
I admired Martha, but then I didn't.
During the Second World War, Hemingway initially stayed put in Cuba, claiming to focus on war-related surveillance activities with his boat
Hey,
Pilar.
that was serious business.
But later, in 1944, he did begin to serve as a war correspondent in Europe,
I liberated Paris, some say.
which was not accurate.
Indeed, but who am I to argue with a good narrative?
Following the war, Hemingway and his new wife, Mary Welsh,
Which number is that?
Lucky number 4.
settled in Cuba, where they lived together until their move to Ketchum, Idaho in 1959. The Hemingways spent considerable time in the late 40s in Europe, both France and Italy, but their primary residence in those years was indeed Cuba. In Hemingway's later career, his output dwindled. Following the release of For Whom the Bell Tolls in 1940, it took another 10 years to complete his next novel. He had begun work on several pieces, but none of them were completed until Across the River and Into the Trees in 1950.
The critics did not enjoy that novel. They were without merit.
The Old Man and the Sea was then published in 1952, and it was a remarkable comeback. Although only a shorter work, a novella, it was well celebrated and led to his being awarded the Pulitzer Prize in 1953.
They called it my comeback. I didn't think I'd gone anywhere, but either way, it's nice to come back.
The following year, in 1954, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. The 50s were filled with ailments and injuries. Subsequently, nothing more was published during his lifetime.
But what about A Movable Feast?
A memoir of my time in Paris.
Yes, well, in 1956, he rediscovered notebooks from the 1920s, journals of that era. He worked on editing and revising that material into a memoir.
I was mostly finished by 1959, but continued working on it up until the incident.
What incident?
When I took my favorite shotgun.
Whoa, let me handle this. You see, kids, as I mentioned, he had experienced significant ailments and had many injuries throughout his life that some speculate led to dementia, where he had a hard time remembering things, in addition to high blood pressure and failing eyesight. And notably, he struggled with depression. This all came to a head in 1961 when Ernest ended things.
Ended things?
He means stopped living.
Exactly.
Not my proudest moment.
Hemingway's legacy remains central to American and world literature. His works continue to be studied for their stylistic innovation, thematic depth, and cultural significance. His works...
Oh, stop! I'm blushing! But you were saying?
Your works remain widely read and celebrated even today.
Huh. Hey, Ernie, are you finished here? Are you thirsty? Let's get a drink somewhere. I hear there's a good place down the street. They have a really fruity drink. Tastes just like Pepto-Bismol. It sounds delicious.